Hello and welcome to Getter Farms. We're back with another episode of the Flint Hills map by JS Mapping. And today is day 2 of early winter, and we've got some corn that needs to be sold. And so I'm moving this truck out of the way just a little bit. We're going to attempt to use CoursePlay to start with, and see if we can manage to get a CoursePlay course running that's going to sell this corn off. And so in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and get this set up right where we want this course to start. And we've got so much corn that we need to move, and so I want to get some of this corn going right away. And so we want to be in mode 1 in order to move this grain, and we're gonna set this fill type to corn. No, we're gonna set this fill type to dry corn, because we're moving all of the dry corn that we've sold. And then all we gotta do is start course recording, and we're gonna drive this on over to the co-op here. Day 2 of winter is typically the best day to sell dry corn, or corn in general with seasons. And so we're gonna be taking it just down the road here to the co-op. It's not quite the highest price, but the other sell points on the map have a price that is dropping rapidly. And so I'd rather get our corn moved to this close sell point and get it out of our bins, especially if we've got a sell point that is not dropping in price. I think that by the time the others are done dropping in price, this one is going to probably be the highest. We're gonna just sneak across that road super quick like because of the traffic. It looks like I'm coming in the wrong side of this sell point though. That's okay. And then this is where it's gonna end up dumping. I'm not actually setting that up right now. We're gonna end up having to use the CoursePlay editor here most likely to straighten out this course. But I just want to get the course recorded right now, and then we'll come back in here and clean it up with the editor when we determine if we have any problems. Now, I wasn't paying attention as I was driving the course the first time here, and so we've got kind of a collision prone course. I'd like to be running both trucks to this sell point if I can, and so we might end up recording a second course here at some point. But right now we're just going to kind of hug the grass here a little bit more to keep these truck paths apart and minimize the amount of damage that we're going to be caused. And so there's another spot where I was just going too fast, and we're going to need to probably edit the CoursePlay course. And if I hit stop, first waypoint, start, in theory, this truck should detect that it is full of corn and just keep going here. And we're just going to follow this guy through once here, make sure he's going to sell, and then hopefully refill. We are going to slow his cruise control down a bit though. I don't see any need for him to go over 60 on this particular course. And then just because we really don't want to run into any traffic, we're going to go ahead and disable that for the time being, because the traffic on this map is a little bit aggressive, and I have just seen some pretty interesting things when you try to let CoursePlay deal with the traffic here. I have upgraded to the latest version of CoursePlay here. If we bring it up, we're on 6.03.00041. And so this is a version of CoursePlay that by the time this video comes out will be, a day or two old. And so new versions of CoursePlay are always interesting. And so we'll see if we have any problems with this. We'll see if it fixes some of the issues we've seen with double hopper trucks in the past. And maybe we'll have to make some changes here at some point. We'll see. As far as selling, though, it seems to be working pretty well here. We've emptied out 2 hoppers here for a grand total of about $28,000, which is really encouraging because we've got a lot of corn to go, and we've got about 2.7 million in debt. I'm not a big fan of how that trailer pops up over the weigh scale there, but CoursePlay seems to be powering through, so we may just accept it for what it is here for the moment and see how it does when we get back up to the farmyard where we kind of spun out here. Now this is where we hope that he slows down and makes this curve. It looks like he's going to figure it out a little bit better than I did, which is going to bring him into this loading point a little bit crooked still. I'm thinking he's going to be okay, though. Let's wait for him to load the front up here and then see how this goes. But I think he's going to miss that beam and be able to pull through. I just want to make sure that he's actually going to be able to load up the back of the trailer here. I know that's been a bit of a problem in past versions of CoursePlay, but this seems to be working without issue, at least for me. So if you're one of the viewers who has reported problems with 2 hopper semi-trailers not filling with CoursePlay, it does look like the current version of CoursePlay is doing that without any issues. And so since we've already watched him do this course once before, I'm going to go ahead and let him continue. And we're going to jump in this other truck here and figure out how to get him onto the same course. And we should be able to also copy the settings here for dry corn. And then I'm going to just get him out here on the road pointed in the right direction. And then we'll give the other semi a few seconds here to get a head start. And then we're going to go ahead and just start this guy right behind him with the hope that we don't crash here on this road, because I really didn't do a good job recording that course. If it becomes a problem, we may record a second course and or edit the course here to be a little bit more sane. I think editing the course would actually be a little bit of a pain with how badly I've messed the course up here on this road, especially where we swerve way over onto the left side there. I am hoping that just the way that we've spaced these guys out, that we won't run into each other. I think that he should be able to detect the other truck here and stop and wait for him potentially. Now this guy's gonna do the pop up over the curb thing, but that's okay. It doesn't seem to be causing us any grief. And he's gonna start unloading here as well. So I think we're gonna just set his cruise control at 60 miles an hour here as well, just like the other semi. And in theory, these guys should be able to run one right behind the other without getting caught up on each other, I think. And hopefully the loading and unloading speeds are pretty similar. And so what I want to see is if this guy's going to come right in behind the other guy and crash into him, or if he's going to wait nicely at the other bin. So we're going to follow him along here real quick and kind of get a feel for that. I really don't like how much that semi pops up there over that way scale. So we're coming right back up to the farm here. It looks like our lead semi is filling the rear hopper. And it looks like our secondary semi is going to pull right up here and wait patiently. What do you know? And we've got the grain dryer running again here. We are probably going to need some more propane. And so if we look here at our input versus our output, we do still have a good 835,000 bushel or liters of corn there to go. And so we are making good progress, but slow progress. Now, this semi actually didn't fill up the front hopper, which is actually kind of odd for me. So I want to kind of watch him a second time here and see what caused him to skip past that front hopper. I think what I'm going to do is actually go into the CoursePlay editor and decrease the speed limit on a few of these points. So they're set a little high right now. I think I'd like to drop all these down to about 20 miles an hour. Should be more than enough for what we're trying to do and hopefully keep us from overshooting. So I'm not sure why this guy didn't want to fill his front hopper. I looked at the settings and I don't really see anything different per se. Like he's just not stopping to fill right here. So we're going to stop and fill him up manually and then start him on his way and see if he sorts it out just a little bit better next time. What's weirdest to me is that these are the same truck and the same trailer, so I don't know why one would be working and one wouldn't, but we're going to go ahead and start this course back off and just see what happens. So it looks like this front semi is still working perfectly. He just filled both hoppers again. And so I'm kind of curious to see if we've resolved our problems or if I'm just going to need to retire the second truck from this particular course. Oh, it looks like we're filling the front hopper this time, which is not what was happening the last couple of times, so this is promising. And then as long as he fills the back hopper after this, I think we're going to be golden. There we go. All right, I think we're good to go. So we've now got both semis here moving and grooving, running this corn out. We've already moved a little over 200,000 bushels of corn. And so we're making some money. We're at $173,000 made so far. We do have a 2.675 million loan out, so I'm really curious to see how much we're gonna make running this grain for everything. Our ground is frozen here, and so there's not a whole lot else we're gonna be able to do other than sell. I guess if we take a quick look at our pigs, we need to clean this up and feed and water them real quick here. They do spill pig food, so we can just pour that right back in. And we're actually going to park this inside. We messed up the mix on our feed mixer here a little bit, but it's funny, it doesn't actually matter because it has the same components that need to go into the pig food anyway. So we're going to be able to just dump this right into the pig food trigger, and it'll fill the appropriate amounts out of the different types here for us. So Not really a huge concern. We will need to figure out how to put some wet corn back into there here at some point, just to balance out now the rest of that mixture, since we've gotten everything out of it that we can. We just don't have an ability to get regular corn, quote unquote, of our grain bin system. I guess we could modify our pig food mixer to use regular corn or dry corn instead of regular corn. That would potentially solve the problem. And we've got the water going into here. Looks like we're going to be pretty good for the moment. We'll need to solve our food problem here before the end of the day. But I just want to make sure that these semis are going to keep going. You can see right on the side of the semi, we've got corn through both of those windows, which is what we want to see. And we've got the other semi rolling in here nice and steady. So the other thing we're going to need to do here at some point is spread our slurry on some of our fields. And so I thought we would at least get the 8960 here hooked up to our manure spreader. We do have a fair amount of manure now in the pit, but I'm not sure how far it's going to go. And so if we hook this up, what I want to see is that we've got it all filled up and ready to go. Now, we did redo this field a bit with CoursePlay, or to make it more CoursePlay friendly, I should say. And it looks like it could probably use some nitrogen. We're probably going to put corn on it next time. And so I think what we'll do is go ahead and get our GPS set up and see what we can do to spread a little bit of slurry here on this field. Now, I'm not expecting that we're going to have enough to actually spread this whole field, but I am kind of curious to see how far it gets us, and I'm kind of curious to see how it works with precision farming here. And so we're going to go ahead and try to get lined up here so that we're right on the edge, and let's see how this goes. It looks like we're getting a good amount of slurry spread here. It's balancing it out based on the soil type, so it looks like we're hitting 140 kilograms per hectare, probably the right amount for corn. I honestly can't remember how much nitrogen corn is going to need. And so we're going to find out when we go to plant corn if we need to put any more down on top of this. I'm a little bit curious to see if this changes at all. It's doing it based on soil yield potential for loam, but nitrogen is crop based. And so what I'm curious to see is, as I transition into the part of the field that was meant for corn, or that had corn in it previously up here, if that's going to change how much slurry we're putting down or not. Now, this is a fairly narrow spray pattern here, so we're not using a ton of slurry with what we're doing right now, but we're also not going that fast, so this could take a little while. Now, as I come up here into a slightly different color of soil, it is now applying an even higher amount of nitrogen, which makes me a little bit worried. It's still applying that flat 80 kg, and so we're getting up into an even higher nitrogen amount here. And again, I just don't know what the right nitrogen level is for corn. We're going to have to go check that out. Well, we made it to the end of the field, and we've got 52% left in the tank, so we should be able to, theoretically, make it all the way back down the other end of the field here. All right, so I'm looking at the precision farming numbers, And for maize, it looks like our target level is 120, 160, 200, and 180, depending on soil type. So if I look at soil types for loamy sand, which would be this little yellow area over here, we only want to be 120. Otherwise, for sandy loam, which is this green area, we'd want to be 160. For loam, we actually want to be a full 200 nitrogen level. And then for this dark blue area here, the silty clay, we would want to be 180. So the fact that we're currently getting parts to 140 and 160, definitely not a concern for us. We need to get all the way up to, this part would need to be 180, and the other part here would need to be 200. So I think we're in a good spot. I was a little concerned. I'm no longer concerned. So we'll keep trucking here on the slurry and see how far we get while CoursePlay takes care of selling all of our grain. It looks like CoursePlay got into a bit of a hang-up somewhere down there by the elevator. And so we're going to finish out the last few feet that we've got here and get the slurry tanker here to refill at the pits by the hog shed. And we'll go and see what kind of trouble CoursePlay's getting into here. The nice thing about this perfectly working out for one full round is that we're always going to end up right back down here at the slurry pit. Well, we'll go ahead and stop this driver, and hopefully that guy's going to be able to figure out where he needs to go. And in the meantime, we can start this guy off at the nearest course. And he seems to be struggling. Well, let's go ahead and try that one more time. Nearest waypoint. There we go. He seems to be back on track here. And so let's go back over here and see where we're at. I think we've managed to fill this up. We've got 32,000 gallons of slurry still in the tank, and we're holding 10,000 per, so we got 3 more fills of slurry available to us. 3 more is not going to get us across this field, but I guess it's better than where we were at as far as free nitrogen going on to our fields. These fields are absolutely massive, so it's not a surprise that we're not getting very far. But I'll be honest, given a full year with 500 pigs, I kind of thought we were going to have a little bit more slurry than we ended up having. I'm kind of curious if a helper or CoursePlay could do this job. I'm sure CoursePlay could do it, but we've already kind of gotten started, and I didn't really think to set up a course. And so maybe what we'll do is get this line back up and then see if a normal helper's got what it takes to keep him going, at least down the straight rows. So if I use GPS to get me to where I want to be, and then get the slurry spreader going again here, I can always turn off auto steer and then turn on a worker. And it looks like they're going to keep going here. I have no idea if they're able to actually turn around at the end, especially with this weird double trailer. But I kind of want to run over to the bins here and see how we're doing. It looks like we're loading. We're already 2/3 of the way through our corn. The dryer is still running. We've got quite a bit of corn left in the dryer to keep drying so that we can sell it. I'm not sure we'll get through all of that today or not based on how slow the dryer is. It's going to take probably a day or two to get through all the rest of that wet corn. And so it's been good to just get some capacity there. By the time we're done selling today, we'll definitely have the capacity for the rest of the wet corn. In fact, we're pretty close to being there right now. A couple more truckfuls, and I think we'll have the space cleared out for what's left in the wet bins. And so we're making decent progress from a financial perspective. We've already cleared over $500,000 here just on the corn that we've got. Knowing that we're only halfway done with our corn now, a little bit less than halfway, we should clear a total of about $1 million on corn alone, which gives me hope that our beans are going to really close the gap for us. If I bring up the price here, so we are selling to the Fairbank co-op right now, which is not quite the highest price, but it is on the rise here. And that one is a lot farther away, so I opted for the closer sell point. And if we look at soybeans, right now, soybean prices are pretty abysmal, but we have quite a few soybeans because that was the big field that we planted. So I anticipate that between corn and beans, we're going to pay off the bulk of our loan here sometime in the summer. I think what we do want to do, though, is as long as we've got the money, let's go ahead and pay down as much of this loan as we can. We'll still be able to see the total amount sold for the day here in this financial tab, so I'm not too worried about losing track of that because it's always fun to kind of see where we're at after we do something like this. You can see here our total harvest income right now is $550,000. And so we're going to just keep selling, keep drying some corn, and check back in on this stuff here towards the end. We do need to go and see how this worker is doing as he comes up to the end of this field. I'm super hopeful that he's actually going to be smart enough to make the U-turn here. If he can handle to do the turnaround, which it looks like is maybe going to be the case. Nope. We're not smart enough. That's okay. He didn't get into too much trouble, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm also not too worried about our headlands. So we're gonna get him going right back down here to the other end. And yeah, we'll check back in here in a little bit and see where we're at with selling corn and spreading slurry. So it looks like we're running out of diesel here, so we're going to go ahead and stop this course and take us over here to the fuel point. It looks like I left a piece of equipment out in the way, so that's extra handy here. Let's see if I can just find my way into the fuel trigger anyway. And I forget how expensive diesel is. So we're going to sit here for just a minute and let everything fill up all the way, just so we don't have to monkey with it again. And that's about full, so we're going to go ahead and take this guy back down to the main road here. And actually, before we do that, we're going to let this other guy go since he's still on the course. And we're going to try and repair this semi real quick. Ideally, I probably wouldn't do this with a full grain cart, but we should be able to get it in here to tune it up just a smidge. Everything seems to be patched up now. Hopefully that means that these semis are going to drive just a little bit better. And if I get out here and start at the nearest waypoint, set our cruise back down to 60 so we're not going too fast, we should be in a good state here. Our other semi is unloading right now, so I'm not in any risk of running into him. And I think as long as we can get across the road here before he's done unloading and gets around that corner, we're going to be in pretty good shape. I still haven't bothered to fix this course because it just kind of works. At this stage, I don't know that I really want to monkey with something that's been working for $700,000 worth of corn selling so far. If we look at our finances here, continue to pay down our loans, you can see we've made just over $700,000 selling our corn so far. I fully expect we're going to hit $1 million here shortly. And jumping back over to the other truck here, he seems to be in fairly good shape. His maintenance is probably a little bit low, but he's got 3/4 tank of fuel. So I think really we're gonna just let him go here and do his thing. His last run counter has hit 0. So if we take a quick look here, we've done his rounds. We've sent both semis through 20 plus rounds now. I've upped that counter once already, so we've delivered over 40 truckloads of corn between the two trucks. So that's a lot of trips up to the elevator there for sure. Looks like we're drying fast enough to keep up with our semis on 60X, so I think we're gonna leave it on 60X and we'll let these guys keep going here. I was thinking we were getting close to done, but we'll see how much corn we can sell before the end of the day here. If we look at the charts, you can see that the price at Fairbank Co-op is still going up. So we're definitely feeling good with our decision to sell to that close point. We didn't lose out on too much money. And then we've already spread on this one, so it looks like we're set up to spread here. And so by the time we come back down, we will have made it just about to the corner of that building. So we're pretty happy about that. We are going to let the worker take us back down to the end of the field though. And we're going to check on this dryer one more time. We are cranking through the corn here on 60X. We're definitely ahead of the semis now. So I'll probably actually drop that back down to 30X just to give us a little bit more time with the semis to move back and forth. So you can see here we're getting into the ground where we'd previously had the corn planted. And as a result, when we apply our flat 80 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare, we're not quite getting the soil to the same level of quality because the soil had been low on nitrogen or lower on nitrogen than the other part of the field with the soybeans on it. So I would say that means this is all working exactly how I would have anticipated it. And so we're gonna just keep this guy going. And this is our last pass. We might be able to get a little bit more out of the tanks when we get back down there, but I'm not holding my breath that we'll get even a full pass down, let alone a full round. So we'll just see how it goes. All right, it looks like we've got enough for one last pass down to the end of the field, so we're going to go ahead and take advantage of that. And then that will use up the last of our slurry, which is a-okay. We did indeed make it to the edge of the shed and one pass beyond. And so I really can't complain about that because I was sure that we weren't even going to make it to the edge of this shed. So I am pleasantly surprised. One of those times where you're happy to be wrong. And we're loading up here yet again on corn. With the time cranked up a bit here, we're keeping up with the dryer. But I'm worried we're not even going to be able to sell all this corn that we have dried before the day runs out. The price is bound to start going back down here at some point. If we look here, though, we're actually peaking up several dollars above where we were. So the loads we're selling now are worth a lot more than the loads we were selling in the earlier part of the day. And so I'm glad we did speed up time a bit to take advantage of the increasing market. So I came to the realization that we'd run out of propane at some point. And while we were out working on the field, getting our slurry spread, the dryer had not been running for the bulk of the day. And so it looks like we're going to have to leave the remaining 420,000 liters to be sold in the summer along with the soybeans. We did manage to get our slurry spread. And so if we look at the map here, not quite a quarter, maybe a quarter of this field spread with nitrogen. There's just not enough slurry here left in the pig enclosure to bother taking that back out into the field. All right, so we ran the trucks right up to midnight here to get as much corn sold as we can. The dryer ran out of propane just a few minutes ago. We put a little bit more in. We've got about 140, 647, we'll just call it 150,000 liters of corn that we're still working our way through. Most of it still needs to be dried, so this semi is empty, and we've just finished selling our last load. So if we go ahead and repay off this loan, we've really dropped our debt down significantly. You can see here we've sold $1.3 million worth of corn today. So that was a little bit more than what I was thinking we'd do. I was thinking we'd end up with more like $1 million in corn sold. And so the fact that we got to 1.2 and we've still got, what's that, 3 truckloads, maybe a smidge more left to sell is really encouraging. And so we are going to wrap this episode up here. This has been kind of an awkward episode in that we're primarily just selling the corn. However, we did get our slurry spread as well, checking out how that works with precision farming. So super excited here. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So we will be back next episode, likely moving into spring and getting back out into the fields. That's all for today. Ketterk out.